Hey guys, this will be my top four deck profile for Six Samurais. So my take on Six Samurais has been pretty weird. I decided to try this version out just because I wanted to try out these cards. I wanted to try out the Giant Rats. Giant Rats is one of the more interesting cards in Tengu plant format because its ability to be a recruiter. A lot of people don't like recruiters in Tengu Plant. I don't know why. Recruiters are actually really cool in my opinion. If people don't like recruiters, I don't know why they're playing Six Sam. I don't know why people are playing X Sabers instead, because X Saber has a recruiter in the deck, which is Ember's Blade. So if you guys don't like recruiters, then why are you guys like not dissing on the Giant Rat? So I decided to play the Giant Rat because I want to play the Naturia exterior, as you might see in my thumbnail. So Six Samurai has a really good access to be able to play Naturia Beast, and so being able to go Giant Rat into this card right here, the Earth Hex Sealed Fusion. The Earth Hex Seal Fusion. So this is a card right here where you could tribute himself along with the fusion material monster, and when you do that, you can special summon any Earth fusion monster. And since exterior here says that you can, it says here that a fusion summon of this card can only be conducted with the above fusion material monsters. That only means if I were to use polymerization or any sort of fusion cards that were to fuse the Earth Hex as a fusion substitute with Naturia Beast. That only means that I can't do that. But since Earth Hex Fusion lets me special summon it, this card, then I'm allowed to bring in this Naturia Beast Exterior out with Earth Hex Fusion. I really like the stat line of Exterior because it's a 2800 attack. If you guys don't know what Exterior does, it's one of those cards that allows you to negate spells and traps while it's on the field. So it allows you to negate by milling a card on top of your deck and then banishing one card from your graveyard. So if you're able to do both of those, then you're able to negate a spell or trap. So that's why I really like Exterior, and I really wanted to try out. There are other decks that I wanted to try Exterior out with, and one of the decks was Psychics because the other decks that can produce Naturia Beast is pretty easy. However, with Psychics, you have to wait a couple turns, and I don't want to wait a couple turns to make a Naturia Beast because I want to be able to make this guy on turn 2, essentially. So that's why I decided to play this version of Six Samurais. Giant Rat has other applications as well, and I'll go into it right now. The other application I play is because I played Grand Mole. Grand Mole was actually MVP of the tournament that I went to. So because I was able to bounce Gachi Gachi, any of the tour guide targets, any of the tour guide XCs that they go into, like Leviathan Dragon, I could just attack with Grand Mole and then bounce it back, and I can generate a +1. So that's why I like the Grand Mole. Grand Mole is also able to be fetched off with because Grand Mole is able to be fetched off with Giant Rat. If they attack my set, my giant rat and set, I can special summon the Grand Mole, and then the Grand Mole threatens the Leviathan Dragon the next turn without me committing a normal summon. Giant Rat has another utility as well, is be able to get the other Six Samurais that allow you to play the game. So like the two elders here and the Kagemusha. The two elders here and the Kagemusha, and these cards allow you to be these cards can be fetched with a Giant Rat if you don't already have the Grand Mole, or you don't need the Grand Mole for the situation and you want to go into your engine. These two cards right here allow you to go to the first turn to Naturia Beast, but most of the time I'm always going into the Shien, the legendary Six Samurai Shien, because he's a better monster to start off with, because your opponent can set trap cards that can interrupt your play. So you want to go Shien first, and then use double-edged sword technique to go into Naturia Beast on your second turn, and then normal summon the Giant Rat or the Earth Hex Fusion to be able to fuse into the Naturia Exterior. Okay, so those are the Earth targets. I also play the Squire here because I do play Dojo in this deck. So Dojo, all you have to do is normal summon one Six Samurai, that's level 4, and then Dojo can get this card out from the deck, and then you can special summon either a Naturia Beast or Shogun Shien on the first turn. And then of course I play the Reinforcement of the Army and the one Smoke Signal because they're limited. If there were more, then I'd play more. I play the 3 Kizan because Kizan's great. A lot of time Kizan, I stick him on the board without X-seizing with him, but you could X-seize with him into Utopia or Roach because certain matchups where you're playing against level 5 or higher monsters like plants, Roach is really good in that scenario. But most of the time I don't go into Roach because a 1900 monster is really hard to run over. It's really easy for them to run over with Venus and stuff, and I don't play defensive trap cards in this deck. Maybe I should. I also play the 2 Kageki. I only need 2 because I only want to summon him on the first turn, and then after that I don't want to summon him anymore. And then I play the 1 Anishi because I do play Asceticism. Asceticism is really good because you can target this guy and then special summon this guy, and then you have an interruption for the whole turn. He's also a level 4 samurai too, so if you can normal summon him under dojo, then I can send the dojo off to special summon the squire, and then the squire is going to be able to make a Shien on the first turn. And I also play one Grandmaster because Grandmaster interacts really well with Thunder King. If you special summon this with Thunder King around and they negate it, Grandmaster can add itself back to the hand and they can special summon again. And then it's almost as if Thunder King Ryo never existed. So that's why I play the one Grandmaster. He's also a 2100 base. So unlike Kizan, where you need other 6 samurais to be a 21 base, he's already a 21 base, which is really nice. This is also really good against Solemn Warning. So if you summon a 6 samurai monster and they don't warning that samurai monster, then you can special summon the samurai and then run over the Thunder King Ryo if they have the warning, because the warning and the Thunder King Ryo doesn't interact with the Grandmaster. I might even side deck more in the future, depending on the matchups. And then I play the 2 Veilers because it's a tuner, but it's also be able to stop big monsters from activating their effects on summon, like BLS, and then you can deal with BLS on the following turn using your double-edged sword technique to attack with Catastrophe and kill it. And then you have to play these. These are Asceticism. Asceticism has a lot of different targets, but in this deck, it's only a few. You can go... I was playing the Zanji, so I can target Kizan. So with Kizan, I can just target the... I can target this... I could target this card with Kizan, and then I can bring out Zanji from the deck. But I didn't really like that that play line, so I just cut it from the play line. Mostly, you're going to be using this for targeting your Elder of the 6 Samurai, or you can target your Kagemusha, and they bring each other out, and then you have a level 5 Synchro. I'm trying to boost the level 5 Synchro as quickly as possible. That's why I play the 3 Asceticism. I play the 1 Gateway because you have to play it. It's a 1-of, and it's a really good 1-of in this deck because you can just generate so much pluses off this card. And so that's why I really like the Gateway, the 6 Samurai. And then I play the 2 Dojos. So in this deck, I play the Dojo mainly because I want to be able to bring out the Squire with only one 6 Samurai, level 4 6 Samurai. But another utility is you can actually summon Kageki into Kagemusha, and then synchro summon into Shien. But I don't play I don't play the Spirit of the 6 Samurai. Maybe I should. Going forward, I might actually cut a card for Spirit of the 6 Samurai, because if you make 2 samurais and then you go into the 3rd samurai, which is the legendary 6 Samurai Shien, then you have 3 counters on this thing. You can send this off to the graveyard to special summon a Spirit of the 6 Samurai. And then when you do that, you can equip the 6 Samurai, the Spirit of the 6 Samurai to the Shien, and then the tour guide that they summon on the next turn can't run over the Shien. So, yeah, maybe going forward, I'll actually add those cards in because the Spirit of the 6 is actually really good against tour guide. I don't play 6 Samurai United because I don't think it's a bad card. I think it's an okay card. My issue with the 6 Samurai United is that you require to have two samurais in your hand, and they both have to be samurais that you can summon on the same turn in order for you to draw 2 cards with the 6 Samurai United. So I took that with a grain of salt, and I thought, well, because I require 2 samurais that can be summoned on the same turn, and I need United on the board, then it makes it so that 6 Samurai United is a -1 for the whole turn until you are able to summon a second samurai the next turn. And so I've done a lot of test hands with this deck, and I found that sometimes I draw hands where I'll have United, and I'll have 2 samurais in my hand, but I can't summon both of them in the same turn. So I have to wait the second turn. So my first samurai that summons get beat over easily, especially in Tengu plat format. So I decided to cut United completely from the deck, play more consistent cards. So I decided to play the 2 Upstart Goblins because, in theory, this is basically 6 Samurai United if you are only to summon 1 samurai for the turn. But instead, it reduces the opportunity cost, so you're able to draw into the second card. And maybe with the second card, you're going to be able to draw the samurai they can summon. So I'd rather have something that can do something right away as opposed to waiting a whole turn. Because if you stick a samurai out there, and it gets beat over by one of your opponent's monsters, then you've got -1, and then if the second turn you are able to resolve the 6 Samurai United, you've only gotten you don't even get a +1 off that because you go neutral because you send off the 6 Samurai United. So because you go neutral on that, there's no point for me to main deck 6 Samurai United in the event that I don't have the second samurai that can summon. So I decided to play the Upstart instead. And then I cut for better cards. I play the Reborn because you have to play it in this deck because reviving a legendary 6 Samurai Shien is really strong, but you can also revive the Cherry Beast as well. A thing I forgot to mention too is that with this card, you can actually synchro. You can send the Earth Hex Fusion with a Barkion, And then the Barkion would also still make this card with instead of Naturia Beast. So if you want to go first turn Barkion against certain decks, like TG Stuns, for example, then you can normal summon the Hex Fusion and then call priority to send the Barkion and the Earth Hex Fusion to go into Exterio. And the Exterio is way better because it has a better stat line than both Barkion and Naturia Beast. Anyways, I also play the Mind Control because I am playing 2 Gagamusha as a tuner and then the 2 Veilers. I can also Mind Control a Tengu and also overlay with the 2. So Mind Control has a lot of utilities in that respect. I don't play Heavy Storm because it's one of those theories where if you start going game 1 and you draw a back row, then you have to pretty much resolve all your back row. If you open up with Gateway on your first turn and then you activate Gateway, then your Heavy Storm is one of those cards that you have to consider not using until the last turn. And then I decided to side deck instead of main decking it. I only main deck the one MST just for the Gravekeeper matchup, but in other matchups where they are afraid of Heavy Storm, I can just MST the back row and then pretty much pop off because they don't want to lose 2 cards to Heavy Storm. That's why I only play 1. It's also very good against Gravekeepers if you're able to see it, but most of the time you're not going to see it against Gravekeepers. So I do side heavily against Gravekeeper because I do play the double-edged sword technique, which revives 6 timers from the graveyard. And the traps I play very minimal. I play 8 traps. I only play the double-edged sword technique, which allows me to pretty much make another level 5 synchro after the legendary 6 Samurai Shiin. Being able to make an Naturia Beast and go into this guy is kind of the idea of the deck. I also play the 2 Warning because it's a staple. The Warning Brigade or the Solemn Brigade. It's really good because you can just punish all. You can just trade 1 for 1 into big summons or big normal summons that they need. And then I play the 2 Bottomless for defense. So that's all the main deck there is. Only 8 traps. I think I play a lot of spells because I want to be consistent as possible. Despite the fact that I do play 2 Upstart Goblins, this deck can still brick. So it's one of those decks where if you brick, you pretty much have to hope that your opponent also bricks so that you can play. But yeah, a lot of times, even the most consistent looking Samurai build will actually look inconsistent. So you'll get some hands where you just can't play. So you just have to take it with a grain of salt when you decide to play this deck. That's why this deck is not a tier 1 deck, in my opinion. I think it's more like a tier 2 deck or a tier 1.5 deck. Just depends where how the meta shapes out to be. But even with the meta shaped out to be, I don't think it's going to be placed any higher than 1.5 or 1.5 because of the deck's inconsistency issues. That's the main deck. I'll go into the extra deck. So I do play the Naturia Exterio, which is kind of the showbiz of the deck. I play the Naturia Beast and the Barkion. So yeah, and then I also play Landois, so I have the space. So I have the Naturia Brigade, I guess. I never make Landois ever once, but I always make these 2 often. Barkion is really bad against Gravekeepers, so don't make it because once they install the Necro Valley, then you can't banish anything from your graveyard. So just don't make that guy. I do play a really good card in this deck, and I failed to see it before, was Gaia, the Force of the Earth. Against Gravekeepers, if they have a 2600 defense, or if they have a 2500 defense Gravekeeper Spy, being able to make this guy and running over the Spy in defense position is what you need so that they can't Xyz and make it to Utopia. Because once they make Utopia against you, it's really hard for you to deal with it. And because even if you have Catastrophe, that can just negate a Catastrophe's effect. So yeah, you're gonna need Gaia, the Force of the Earth, to run over the level 4 monsters so that they can they can't wall off. I played Trishula. You can actually make level 9s pretty easy. Once you're able to make, if you're able to stick a Keys on there, and then you resolve a double-edged sword technique, then you have a 2-card Trishula that allows you to pretty much punish your opponent's graveyard and do stuff like that. So that's why I played the Trishula. You have to play this guy. There's no question about it. A lot of people don't remember that he has an effect that can save himself. So if they find a way to deal with him by summoning the tour guide, you can destroy the other 6 samurai, and he protects himself from being destroyed. So yeah, definitely useful card. I played the TG Hyperblade Bear. Never made it once, but in theory you could summon this first and then flip the double sword technique and then draw a card if you make the Shiin. This way you can just get a +1 without wasting so many cards. I play the Roach in the Utopia and the Leviathan. Leviathan can only be made with Elder and Kagamusha, or not Kagamusha, with Elder and Kageki. But I never made this guy once, so there's no need to make it. He's just there if you need it. I also play the Roach in the Utopia because Roach is really good against... The weakness of 6 Samurais is if they're able to play like Chaos Sorcerer and BLS every turn, or Hyperion, so basically agents, So if you can find a way to protect your roach from being destroyed by Venus, then your roach is actually going to give you a lot of advantage because you can actually just kill them on the next turn or on the next few turns. And so being able to make a roach is really necessary in Six Samurais. And then I have the Utopia just in case. My level 6 I play is Bryanak. Bryanak is really good in game 2s and 3 when people side deck cards like Snowman Eater or anything that just basically where they set it and then they expect it to be attacked like Fossil Dyna. Bryanak will be able to bounce it back so that they can't do anything with it. That's kind of the idea. The other level 6 I play is Orient Dragon. Never made it, but in theory you can banish a Scrap Dragon, and being able to banish a Scrap Dragon is pretty good. But I think Bryanak's just preferred in most cases against the Scrap deck. Then I have the Catastrophe, which is really useful because there's going to be monsters you can't run over with Xian because I don't play Spirit of the Six. But going forward, I will find one space for that Spirit of the Six so that you can deal with Tour Guide. And I play the Black Rose, never made it either. But yeah, that's the extra deck. Let's go into the side deck real quick. Okay, the side deck, I sided a Gores. The reason why I side Gores is because I'm going to be siding out cards that... so people side deck Puppet Plant against the deck. So if they steal your Puppet Plant and they attack... they steal your Xian with Puppet Plant and they attack you, you can bring out a Gores and then you can recover. He's just a recovery card in most cases because in games 2 and 3, people are going to side deck heavily against it. And so Super Poly is another card too that people can side. If you go into Naturia Beast Exterio, they can Super Poly the Exterio and then take him off the field. And then since you can't respond to it because it's one of those cards that can't be responded to, then what happens is then they have a Gaia, and it's really hard to run over that Gaia unless you have some sort of recovery, which is going to be the Gores. So I always side Gores for going games 2 and 3. Another card I side deck, and it's pretty weird, is I side the United. I side the United because in the mirror match, if you're playing the mirror match, and if you're going first and you activate this card, every time they summon a Samurai, you're getting 2 counters. And since Samurais don't have a way to deal with face-up spells and trap except for MST and Heavy Storm, this means that if they summon into the Xian, you're at least able to pop this off you can pop this when your turn starts again to draw 2 cards, and then allows you to pretty much draw into something. The Gores is really nice too against the mirror match because Gores is really hard to run over with Xian, so that's why it's nice. Against Gravekeepers, I also side the 2 MSTs because you need it, and the Heavy Storm as well. So any deck that plays a lot of back row is when I start siding in the Heavy Storm and the MSTs. I have to play the Blackhorn because it's really good against all the heavy. If I can't make a Roach, for example, then I'm going to need a way to stop the big summons, and then Blackhorn Heaven's really good. Iron Wall because you can protect it with Naturia Beast, but you can also protect it with Xian. Just FYI, don't make a Barkion or an Exterio if you have Iron Wall. Just stick with the Beast because you can't banish anything from the graveyard. I side the Dust Shoot. Again, I'm a very big proponent of siding Dust Shoot because there's decks that just doesn't care about Dust Shoot because they'll set their whole back row and then they'll always go underneath 3 cards. A Mirror Match is an example of this too because a lot of times Samurais like to commit a lot of cards on the field, so they're not going to have ever 4 cards in their hand. So that's when you Dust Shoot. You Dust Shoot people who don't care about you Dust Shoot decks that have a large hand size, such as Agents. That's one of the decks that you can Dust Shoot, and then you'll be fine in most cases. I also side deck the Smashing Horn against Thunder King Ryo and as well as Solemn Warning. If you are so the idea is to have the Giant Rat with the Smashing Horn. So if you suspect that your opponent has a warning and you have this little T set right here, then what they're going to do is they're going to attack the Giant Rat. If they don't want to deal with the Grand Mole, they're going to try to Solemn Warning it. And if they try to Solemn Warning, then you have the Smashing Horn to bring out the Grand Mole. That's kind of the theory behind it. Another theory is where if you have the set and you have like an Elder of the Six in your hand or a Kagamusha in your hand, and they destroy this card, and they don't warning this or whatever, then you can special summon the Elder or the Kagamusha. And then next turn, you can normal summon the Elder, the Kagamusha, or the Aestheticism, and then go into the Xian. They're going to Warning or Thunder King Ryo, and then use Smashing Horn. That's kind of the idea behind Smashing Horn. That's why I decided to play it. Another card that I wanted to side was Rivalry of the Warlords. It's really good against Tour Guide decks because if they go into the second Fiend monster, they can't go into Leviathan Dragon once Rivalry. But another good utility of this is because people side Puppet Plant against 6 Samurais or Heroes. So if they go Puppet Plant, you could chain the Rivalry, and then they can't summon a tuner unless that tuner is a warrior type. and they can't synchro summon with your Xian. The synchro material monster has to be a warrior that they're going to. So Colossal Fighter is one of them. So they had to have two stipulations. They had to have a level. They have to have a tuner that's level 3 to make the Colossal Fighter, and it has to be a warrior. So there's very few warrior types tuners that I believe. So Rivalry is really good in that situations where they're going to puppet plant you. I just needed something against the puppet plant, so that's why I played this. Against agents, I probably wouldn't side this because even though they can go gachi gachi, most of their monsters are fairies. But I guess they can go tour guide into something, so I guess Rivalry is good in that position. So yeah, that's just my side deck for the Six Samurai deck. That was pretty much it. My matchups for the day was first round I played against agents. It was a 2-1 victory. Round 2 I played against Machina Gadgets. That was my only loss for the tournament because I bricked on game 1. No, I think I bricked. I bricked on game 2, and then game 1, it was very close, but he clutched it out with top deck gear frame. And then the third match I played against Gravekeepers, and I won against that matchup. It was tough. Game 1 was like impossible for me to win with because they had the Naturia, they had the Gravekeeper. They have Necro Valley on the field, so all their monsters were really too hard for me to run over, and I couldn't use my graveyard, and I kept drawing this double SR technique. So that's one of the downsides of playing the double SR technique is because if you play against Gravekeepers, then you have to deal with that card. That's why I side the Heavy Storms in the MST. But I was able to clutch it back with a 2-1 victory at the end, where I was able to make, like I said, Guy of the Force of the Earth. Guy of the Force of the Earth is really good against Six Samurais, or against Gravekeepers, because you're able to run over the spy in defense position with Necro Valley out. And then game 3, I believe, I won because I had... I don't remember the game. But definitely I won because I pretty much reverse sweep them. Because I had the MST and the Heavy Storm. And then the last round I played against... last round I played against Hero Beat. Hero Beat was a 2-1 victory. He did draw his Super Poly, but I didn't have a monster for him to fuse with because I was basically on Xian. So it's because I know that deck likes to side Super Poly. I never want to make Naturia Beast against that deck. So just be careful when you are playing against the Hero matchup. Play around the Super Poly and not leave out your Naturia Beast, because a Scrooty Dow, which is the elemental hero that requires dark, isn't out yet in Tengu Plant. Because he's not out yet, then it's not a problem for me to leave out the Xian out there and they can't Super Poly him. So Xian's pretty much MVP against that matchup because any of their traps that they set, such as Gemini Spark, is pretty much dead because you can get a 2-for-1 if you negate a Spark. And then once your Xian's out there, it's really hard for them to come back. And then they have to draw another spell that can deal with the Xian, such as Book of Moon or Dark Hole or Mind Control. Those are the 3 cards that takes the Xian off the board, and then they have to go and they have to draw the Miracle Fusion when everything's set up. So that's kind of the hard part. They do side Snowman Eaters, but I didn't see the Snowman Eaters in going games 2 and 3, so I pretty much didn't care about it. Even if they did side the Snowmater, the game plan is to make the Bryanak to bounce the Snowmater, so they can never resolve the Snowmater, and they just use Xian and Bryanak to attack you for game. So there's definitely good game plans with the Six Samurai deck. I just don't think it's going to be above 1.5 tier, just because the inconsistency issues that the deck loses to itself for the most part. But I try to make the deck where it's most as consistent as possible, where I don't have to rely on Six Samurai United to be able to draw 2 cards, because in theory Six Samurai United is a neutral card. If you have to stick 2 samurais on the board, best case scenario is if you're able to draw 6 Samurai United and then 2 samurais you can summon on the same turn, but you have to stop the Veiler. So if you summon the Kageki under the 6 Samurai United, the Veiler interrupts that, and then you can't make a second samurai. That Kageki only has 200 attack. It's gonna get run over. So that's my theory behind it. I'd rather have a card that does something. Whereas if I didn't, if I had the 6 Samurai United, I would have a Kageki with a United, and then they can just easily run over the Kageki, and then it's like I'm screwed. So I thought about 6 Samurai United pretty hard, and I thought maybe it's actually cuttable from the deck, and maybe I can do well with it. And I actually took top 4 with this deck list. So if there's anybody who can innovate 6 Samurais to this day and age, then I encourage that. But for now, I think this is the build that you should play on 6 Samurai. Granted, you do have to play the Spirit of 6 Samurai. I forgot about that card until the tournament started, and I realized that the Spirit of 6 Samurai can make the tour guide's pretty much all dead because you can just run over the Leviathan dragon. So they had to do different plays. So yeah, even the Spirit of Six Samurai can also protect the Shian too. So if you attack into an Honest, the Spirit of the Six will just trade with the Honest. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, that's the deck profile for the Six Samurais. I will have the gameplay videos with commentary on a different video. So if you guys want to watch that, go ahead and watch it. But yeah, that's the deck profile for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next Tengu Plant deck profile. See ya.